Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. And I'm feeling a little bit more positive than normal. I am starting to get phone calls. I am starting to get on other radio shows. And frankly, folks, if your local radio station or your Patriot network does not want to have me on, then they are not your friend. They are not working for the American people. I am working for the American people. I'm trying to bring you the information that you need to make intelligent decisions. And I've got generally, today may be a slight exception, I've got some of the brightest, most intelligent, most aware people on my show. I just had breakfast on Saturday with a former guest who's running for, Corporation Commission, and he's already a Corporation Commissioner, and he agrees with me about us getting our power back. Now, what I mean by that, I mean if we can generate our own electricity and grow our own food in our backyard, in our farms, on the farms that already exist, a lot of which have just gone out of business because they didn't have the help, they didn't have the sons, they didn't have the people, they didn't have the friends, they didn't have the neighbors to help them, so they've just had to close down and go out of business. And there's been a war going on the farmers for the last 100 years, especially the last 60 or so, because when they took hemp away from the American farmers, they did more than keep you from smoking it. They stole the #1 cash crop of America. There's an opportunity to get back to that in California. There's if the people are educated. The problem is the people, and I've experienced this in the political arena. Charles Collins, and I've got his interviews up. He tells you how we could get away from the income tax. Charge a 1% tax on all transactions for the tax-free foundations, the international corporations. If they were paying their fair share, we would pay the same thing, 1%. 1% of the money that changes hands. And Charles has got the whole thing outlined. And we're going to try to implement that along with somebody I'll have on my show shortly, in just a little while, about the Freedom Day. That's right. We're going to try to make April 15th, 2012, Freedom Day. The slavery of the income tax and the tax on your homes will no longer exist. At last you'll be truly free. Well, of course, people have been trying to do that for 4,000 years, and we're still trying to do that. It's still a battle. Now, I don't do the show to make you hate Jews, to make you think that the Mexicans are our only problem. If I was living down in Acapulco and couldn't get work in my own country, I'd be coming up with them. That means these Mexicans are being driven up here, and of course, it's the Mexican government that's doing that, but it's the American government that are letting them in, or not making, at least not making the attempt to process them legally. I mean, a lot of these Mexicans, if you gave them a chance to go to school, to learn English, to adapt to our culture, they would do that. They'd be happy to do that. And you know, I did one of my shows not too long ago. I did a letter to white racist, because I am not on your side. As far as I'm concerned, many of you might have the right ideas, but when you want to kill somebody else, when you want to kill another human being because they're a different color or a different religion than you are, then you are as evil and sick as the people you're supposed to be opposing. Now, today I want to share with you some words by John Kaminski. He's always been a regular guest of mine, will be again. And for the last 3 months, he's been on the road. He's been staying at the homes of friends in the Northeast. Got to visit John DeNugent there. And he said the U.S. was all sultry. Humid, heat, choked with the smog of traffic and industry, and all the passerbys coughing frequently. It was ironic. I told my sister that I had fled Florida fearing poisoned air, but the air near Philadelphia, dominated by these ever-present chemtrails, was much worse. After a long, sweaty summer, the first genuinely cool weather I ran into happened yesterday as I crossed the border back down into Florida. I thought earlier that I could smell the Gulf from about midway down South Carolina, but that turned out to be only the foul mist of the truck traffic on I-95. Still, it seemed something about the air infused the light with a dusty redness, like a pair of sunglasses that tints the air with the psychedelic rust of civilization. The Sunshine State is what they call Florida, and that's why everybody goes there. It's always sunny. This summer, the entire U.S. experienced a sweltering heat wave, but Florida has been inexplicably 20 degrees below average. Call it a meteorological pole shift. And August 24th, 2010, crossing the border into Florida, produced a vision of a big black cloud gyrating menacingly like potato clouds of Oklahoma, swirling out of the Gulf. Rhythmic rain squalls that lashed the landscape like a sky, vomiting the poison it has ingested upon the fools who made it all happen. Oh, that would be us. Welcome home, Johnny. Whatever happened to that seaside paradise you always dreamed of and thought you'd achieve? Kaminski says, although my Florida neighborhood turns out to be profoundly pristine, once I learned the right path to follow, I always knew and have said for years that one day I'd have to move away from the ocean, because it would become, through thoughtless of human behavior, a danger to life itself and our harp, folks. Of course, I knew if this happened, it would be a definite precursor to what most likely will resemble the end of life all on this planet as we know it. Kaminski says, I'm here to tell you that the precursor has definitely happened. Not only are diseases creeping up on us from every angle of a 360-degree spectrum, so are the people charged with fighting disease participating in a capitalist hoax to fleece the population with invented diseases and their corresponding fall antidotes, which they create from allopathic poisons that will eventually kill us. The black brew in the Gulf of Mexico is just another of those, the most potent unleashed so far. Now, stay with me for a second and let me see if everything is working properly here. Okay. Yeah, I am recording these shows for YouTube, but if you want to hear the whole show, watching this clip, go to freeamerican.com, make a